Welcome to November, guys. We're here already, and the start of a brand new month means the start of a new TBR list. So welcome to my November TBR. I just slapped myself and that really hurt. Books that I want to read in November. So there's quite a few fantasy books in this video. I'm looking at the pile of books now, and if I'm being honest, it's very ambitious. I don't think I have the mental capacity or the time in November to read all of these books without having a breakdown, but a gal can dream. I like to set myself unrealistic goals that I have no chance of achieving, just to give me a bit of a reality check, really. 2024 has definitely been the year of my love for fantasy. There's been so many amazing fantasy books, and typically I used to be a romance reader, but I have not read much romance at all this year, and I'm enjoying the shift. So if you like these kind of videos, make sure to let me know by giving me a thumbs up, and equally I would love to know what your November TBR is. So let's have a look at what's on mine. These books aren't really in any particular order, but this first one I'm going to talk about is the one that I want to read first in November once I finish the current book that I'm on. This one, oh my god, this is the most beautiful book I've ever seen in my entire life. I am not going to lie, I did order it purely because of the front cover, the sprayed edges, and because it's all over BookTok. That is the reason. I don't actually know anything about this book or what it is about, but I've heard some amazing things. This is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. Firstly, the front cover is absolutely beautiful. Like, this is a stunning, stunning book. But not only is the front cover fantastic, guys, you're not ready for this. The most beautiful sprayed edges I've ever seen in my life. I was shooketh when I looked at this book. So this is the Waterstones exclusive edition. Oh, it's just beautiful. Like, look at that colour. My golly gosh. So, as far as I am aware, I think the premise of this book is about a witch who is about to turn 30, and she's having a bit of a quarter-life crisis, doesn't know where she's going in her life, doesn't know what life has in store for her. I get you, gal. I know the feeling. She's just feeling a little bit lost, but then there's also that magical element because she does have like witchy magical powers, I believe, or she's like starting to use them again. She's not used powers in a while, something like that. Like I said, I didn't research the book at all before I bought it. I did buy it because it's flipping beautiful. Yeah, so the first line says, Belladonna Blackthorn hasn't lost her magical spark, but she hasn't seen it in a while either. She also works at a bookshop. Hello, this is a booktube channel. We love all things books, and it's set in a bookshop. This just feels like the most beautiful, whimsical fantasy read, and I can't wait. I don't think it's romantasy. There might be like a very, very small romance element to it, but I think it's much more on the fantasy side rather than romantasy. This is definitely the next book that I'm going to read. I am so excited to pick this up. So that is first in my November TBR. TBR! I'm a pirate. Sorry guys, I haven't had my second coffee of the day. Normally I have had 2 coffees by this point and I am functional as a human being, but right now I'm really slacking. So the next books on my TBR for November, there's no specific order to how I want to read them. I'll kind of just pick up whichever one I want. This next book is one that is massively hyped at the moment. It's been talked about a lot. I don't think it's a new book, and it's been really highly recommended to me. It's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and this is book 1 in the Farseer trilogy. I do actually own quite a few of the trilogies. So I have also the Live Ship Traders, and I have the Tawny Man, I'm pretty sure. So we do actually own a lot of Robin Hobb books. I've just personally never read anything by this author. I've heard that this book really takes you through a range of emotions, and I'm so excited to start the journey. I was gonna wait until 2025 to start my journey with Robin Hobb books, but I'm an impatient gal. I just can't wait any longer. So I added this to my November TBR. This also isn't actually that big of a book. I think some of the other books in the series are like very big. But this one is a very manageable size, which I think is why I've decided to read it in November, because I feel like I can get through it pretty quickly. I also don't want to rush it. Like, I'm really excited to fully immerse myself into this universe that Robin Hobb has created. It's got a little shout out by George R.R. Martin on the front. We can trust what he says. So there is an illegitimate son named Fitz. Fitz is trained as an assassin. There's also a magical element to this as well. I just cannot wait. I have heard people talk about Fitz. I don't know much about the character, but I just feel like this character is going to make me cry. I cry quite easily anyway at things that aren't deep and emotional, so who knows how I'm going to feel about this book. In my November wrap up, I may just be crying throughout all of it because I will have read this book. I'm really excited to read this and to start my journey with Robin Hobb. If you have read this, please let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments because, again, I've heard some amazing things. Just please don't give me any spoilers because I really want to truly appreciate the story. So that's a great one to read. Next up, we have the next couple of books in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I am absolutely loving the Throne of Glass series at the moment. I actually prefer it more than ACOTAR. I know that everybody is going on and on about ACOTAR at the moment. I read it. I enjoyed it, it was okay, but Throne of Glass so far has me hooked. The most recent book, which, was it called Crown of Midnight? I think that was the one that I've just read. I rated it 5 stars, guys. I absolutely loved that book. Spoiler alert, because I was going to talk about that in my November wrap up, but now I'm just going to tell you here, that was 5 stars. It was fantastic. So, which one's the next one? So I did have Heir of Fire on my October TBR, but I just didn't quite get round to it. Again, I set myself too many ambitious goals in October as well. I always make this mistake every month, and I just didn't quite get round to it. So this is still on my TBR, but I've just moved it over to November instead. This one was also on my November TBR, and I am going to keep it on, although these are both quite chunky books. Whether or not I'm going to get round to Queen of Shadows, I'm really not sure, but I am definitely going to read Heir of Fire. So either way, the next one in the Throne of Glass series will be read. It's just whether or not I can get through to this one as well. I really want to. But you know, I'm a hard-working gal and I wish I could spend all day, every day reading, but I just can't. Life is not like that, unfortunately. But yeah, I am really loving the Throne of Glass series, and again, I feel like it is much more on the fantasy side rather than romantasy, whereas ACOTAR is much more romantasy. So far in Throne of Glass, I've read 3 books in the series, this will be the 4th, and it's not like that. It's really not focused on the romance at all. It is much more about the magical elements, the historic lore, the world building, advancing the plot, the main character being an assassin, trying to find out who the bad guys are, and I just really like it. There's also a political element, you know, you've got the king. I am just really enjoying this world a lot more than the ACOTAR one. I know that they're both set in the same world, it's all the same universe that Sarah J. Maas has created, but I just think I'm enjoying following Selena's storyline rather than Feyre's storyline. Those are the lead characters if you weren't aware. I've got those 2 as well. The next book that I'm going to try my hardest to read in November. Now, some of these books are actually quite big, so again, I'm really hoping that I could just power through and read as much as possible. Both of those Sarah J. Maas books are quite big, and so is this one. This is Eldest by Christopher Paolini, another chunky book. But I'm so excited to read this. So I read Eragon did I read it in October or September? When did I upload my video on it? Why can I not remember when I read it? Very recently, either way, and I did upload a review for that on my channel, which I will leave in the description box for you to have a look at if you want to, but it was a brilliant book, such an enjoyable read. I really enjoyed Eragon. So this is the next one in the series, and the series is The Inheritance Cycle. This is book number 2. I've got no idea what is going to happen in this one. So far I've not had any spoilers, but I'm really excited to read this, and I may film and upload a review for this as well once I have read it. If you weren't aware of the premise of Eragon, it is about a young boy called Eragon, obviously, and his dragon companion called Saphira. And they just get up to loads of juicy stuff, really, and I'm not going to tell you anymore in case you've not read it, but The first book was action-packed, it was so fun, there's some really likeable characters in it. I love the dynamic between Eragon and his companion Saphira. There were lots of emotional moments in Eragon. It took me through a wave of different feelings, which I really appreciate when a book can make me feel deep emotions and make me think. Oh my god, I've just realised I'm able to read the blurb now. So normally with books that are like sequels, I don't read the blurbs because they might spoil something from the first book that I've not read yet. But now that I've finished reading Eragon, I can actually read the blurb for this book, and that's going to make me even more excited. Darkness falls, despair abounds, evil reigns. Ooh. And the comment on the back says, filled with darkness and evil, excitement and awe, this is a must for lovers of fantasy. I'm a lover of fantasy, this is a must for me. I'm definitely going to read this in November and I can't wait. I'm going to have a great time reading it. So we're down to the final 2 books that I'm hoping to read towards the end of November. So these ones I'm looking at particularly within the last week of November, possibly when it turns into December. Within that week is when I want to read these 2 books. You will see why in a moment. They are very similarly themed. These ones are the only books in this video that are not fantasy related, and that is because they're Christmas related. I do like to read Christmas books around Christmas time, I'm not gonna lie. I do. They're light-hearted. For me, I'm very lucky because Christmas has always been a really enjoyable time and I really like to romanticize the season. And one of my like core memories that I always used to love when I was a child, when I was a teenager, as a young adult, I always loved making a Christmassy hot chocolate, eating some marzipan or some Christmas snacks and reading a Christmas book. I used to do that at uni all the time when I was alone in my little studio flat and I didn't have anybody around. I would just spend my whole evening reading a Christmas book under a blanket, and it is the perfect way to spend my evening, and I want to carry that tradition on. Even though I don't have the same amount of free time in my life as I did when I was at uni, and my evenings are generally a lot more busy than they were at uni. I can't just sit there for the whole evening and read on my own, which I'm not complaining at all, but I really want to find those precious moments to sit down and read a Christmas book, and that is my justification for including those books in my November TBR. Again, if I don't get onto them, that's fine. I would prefer to read the rest of the books in this video that I've already talked about in November, but it's more of just, if I surprise myself and I do get through all of those books, these are the 2 that I'm going to finish the month on. If not, I'll just move them to my December TBR instead. So the first one is The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. Again, a bookshop setting, what did I say? This one is also set in Edinburgh as well, and it's actually quite nice because I am taking a Christmassy trip to Edinburgh at some point very, very soon. And I believe that it's about a bookshop that is in trouble and they're doing everything they can to kind of save the bookshop by the time that it gets to Christmas. I've read one book before by Jenny Colgan and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. That was a few years ago. It was called The Good, the Bad and the Dumped. And it was just funny. She's got a very like witty writing style. There was humour in the right places. There is seriousness in the right places. Very light-hearted, very easy to fly through. And she's got good character depth as well. I feel like they're not just like surface level characters, like you really do get involved with them. And I really, really enjoyed that book. So when I saw that she'd released a Christmas book, I grabbed it straight away because I just feel like I'm going to love it. And then the final book on my November TBR, which I probably won't get around to reading in November because there's a lot of books here. This one is A Winter's Dream by Sophie Clare. This one I liked because it's set in a small town village setting, which I love, a little cozy village, and she has a Labrador companion. And I don't know what else this book is about. There's a snowy setting in it, again, ideal for Christmas time, and I think that it's probably just your classic Christmas romance that could be a Hallmark movie, but I'm here for it. So I'm looking forward to fly through that one as well. Just a really nice, light-hearted, easygoing read. And I think as well, like there's so much negativity in the world right now, and over the past few months there's been a lot of things that have affected me that I'm exposing myself to. And so I think when I read, I want things that are going to uplift me, and especially around Christmas time, I want that escapism where I can just immerse myself in a snowy village. I think for those types of Christmas books, I just want to feel easy breezy lemon squeezy, you know? Hopefully at least one person out there understands what I'm on about that isn't me. So these are my books. This is going to be absolutely disastrous. I'm going to have to try and switch them over. Okay, okay. I'm holding it with my head. Ow. Oh wow. Whew. These are all the books on my November TBR. Am I going to read all of those? No. Let's place a bet. How many of these do we think I'm actually going to get through? I'm averaging about 5 books a month at the moment, but it does depend on how long the book is. And some of these are quite big. Oh my god, they're going to fall, they're going to fall! Ah! Eragon, you just hit me in the foot. Just had this big massive book fall on my little toe. Okay, this is turning into a very chaotic video all of a sudden. So, what is on your November TBR? I'd love to know what books you are planning to read in November. Does it matter if we get through the whole list? No, it does not. We're just here for the fun and games, okay? So I've got these books in mind to read for November. I'm really, really excited. We'll see how many I can get through and you'll find out in my November wrap-up at the start of December. I will also be uploading my October wrap-up probably within the next week or so you'll be able to see what books I read in October and what I rated them as well, so I hope you enjoy that when it comes out. Thank you so much for being here and for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you have any feedback or you've got any video request ideas, then please leave those in the comments and I'd love to chat to you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know that you did. And if you like my content and you want to see more from me, then please subscribe because it's free and it means that you can see my videos easier. Keep an eye out on my channel over the next few weeks because I will be uploading some reviews for some of the books that I've mentioned in this video. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now!